All right, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are going to completely transform the way you approach your healthcare. We're stepping right out of the passenger seat and putting you squarely in charge. You are the executive manager of your own biology now. If you're over 60, you've probably noticed that the standard medical advice you get, well, it often feels like a quick fix, right? A pill for a symptom, a rushed 15-minute appointment, a pat on the back, and you're out the door. But your body is a complex, highly dynamic system, and preparing for your next doctor's appointment actually starts long before you ever sit down in that waiting room.
You know, it's a super frustrating reality of modern medicine. The clinical guidelines that drive most prescribing decisions, they were largely developed using research populations that were much younger, mostly male, and definitely not managing multiple overlapping conditions. But here's the biological truth of the matter. Your body at 65 is simply not the same pharmacological landscape it was at 40. It metabolizes drugs a lot more slowly, it depletes critical nutrients faster, and it has significantly less physiological reserve when something throws it off balance. Treating a 65-year-old system with a 40-year-old playbook is exactly where things start to go quietly wrong.
Okay, let's really dive into this, because the most dangerous health advice is the kind that sounds completely correct, right up until someone explains what it's actually doing inside your body. We're going to uncover the hidden mechanisms behind standard medical advice today. We aren't just looking at what a pill or a daily habit does on the surface. We're going to look at what it's literally doing deep inside your cells, your gut, and your brain.
So here's our playbook for today. 1. The hidden aging mechanisms. 2. Your morning circadian routine. 3. Your evening repair sequence. 4. Specific labs to request. And 5. Med tapers and key questions.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the hidden aging mechanisms. Mechanism over symptom.
Treating a symptom without understanding the mechanism is literally like unplugging your fire alarm while your house is actively burning down. Take standard symptom management, for instance, using a PPI for acid reflux or popping a standard sleep medication, like a Z-drug, just to knock yourself out. If you look at the root cause, taking that PPI indefinitely aggressively suppresses your stomach acid. And guess what? That is exactly how your body extracts vitamin B12 and magnesium from your food. Over time, you deplete your B12, leading to cognitive fog and fatigue that often just gets brushed off and misdiagnosed as just getting older. And those sleep medications? Sure, they enhance the brain's inhibitory neurotransmitters, basically sedating you, but they actually suppress the deep, slow-wave sleep your brain desperately requires for overnight repair. You aren't fixing the problem at all, you're just masking the signal.
Moving right along to Section 2, your morning circadian routine, setting the biological baseline.
A truly successful doctor's visit actually starts at home, the absolute moment you open your eyes. Your circadian rhythm is your brain's master timekeeper. When this rhythm gets weakened, maybe by irregular wake times or a lack of morning light, it directly compresses your deep sleep that night. It leaves your brain totally unable to clear out metabolic waste, which significantly increases your risk of cognitive decline over time. You are either strengthening or weakening this rhythm in the very first 60 minutes of your day.
So, here is your non-negotiable morning routine. Step 1. Down 16 ounces of water immediately. Your brain's overnight cleaning system is fluid-dependent, and you naturally wake up dehydrated, so replenish that fluid before you even think about coffee. Step 2. Get 10 to 15 minutes of outside, natural daylight within 30 minutes of waking up. This anchors your circadian clock and triggers a healthy cortisol awakening response. Step 3. Eat 2 Brazil nuts and a whole egg breakfast. Why? Well, 2 Brazil nuts provide the exact daily dose of selenium your body needs for the enzymatic reaction that converts inactive thyroid hormone T4 into active T3. And the whole eggs provide crucial iodine and zinc. You are quite literally feeding your thyroid's cellular machinery before 9 a.m. How cool is that?
Now let's flip to the end of the day with Section 3, your evening repair sequence, restoring the system. How you wind down is just as absolutely crucial as how you wake up. During the night, your brain activates the glymphatic system. Think of this as your brain's overnight custodial crew. During deep, slow-wave sleep, the space between your brain cells actually expands, and cerebral spinal fluid flushes out toxic metabolic waste, and that includes amyloid beta proteins, which are associated with Alzheimer's. But here is the catch. Sleep medications, sleep apnea, and elevated nighttime blood pressure can entirely disable this vital clearance process.
So we need to protect that deep sleep, and we do it with this specific evening sequence. Step 1. Stop eating 3 hours before you sleep. This gives your cardiovascular system a much-needed break, dropping your nighttime blood pressure, and allows your liver to focus on detoxification and thyroid hormone conversion instead of digesting a late meal. Step 2. Have a glass of plain kefir and a handful of raw pumpkin seeds with your evening meal. Kefir repopulates the gut microbiome, healing the intestinal wall to stop issues like progressive hair thinning. The pumpkin seeds, they provide critical zinc and magnesium. Step 3. Perform 4-7-8 breathing right before bed. You just inhale for 4, hold for 7, and exhale for 8. This activates the vagus nerve and measurably drops your circulating cortisol, ensuring stress doesn't block your sleep architecture.
Let's do a quick recap on these totally natural gut and sleep-restoring foods. These aren't just random snacks, guys. They are targeted biological tools. Plain kefir manages inflammation by restoring the gut wall. Raw pumpkin seeds support your thyroid receptors and smooth muscle tone. 2 tablespoons of tart cherry juice concentrate before bed naturally supplies melatonin precursors, but without that grogginess you get from sleep meds. And of course, Brazil nuts provide that absolutely crucial selenium. By just adding these simple items to your grocery list, you are naturally managing systemic inflammation and setting up your thyroid and gut for optimal function.
All right, Section 4. Specific labs to request. Demand the complete picture.
So, you've done the hard work at home. Now it's time to demand the complete picture from your doctor. Standard annual panels frequently miss silent depletions running right beneath the surface. For example, if you've been on a PPI for acid reflux for more than 3 months, you absolutely must request a vitamin B12 and serum magnesium test. If you're on a statin for cholesterol, that medication quietly depletes your cellular energy molecule, so you need to request a CoQ10 and fasting insulin test. And if you have that bone-deep fatigue, cold hands, or thinning at the outer edges of your eyebrows, a standard TSH test just isn't enough. You need to explicitly ask for free T3, reverse T3, and ferritin to see if your thyroid hormones are actually converting properly and if your iron stores are adequate for your hair follicles.
Here's another crucial point. Daytime blood pressure measurements often lie to us. If your morning blood pressure is fine, your doctor might say, hey, you're doing great. But if your pressure spikes while you sleep, a pattern known as being a non-dipper, it causes silent white matter damage in your brain and disables your glymphatic system. Ask your doctor for ambulatory blood pressure monitoring, or ABPM. It's a 24-hour cuff. It is literally the only way to know what your blood pressure is doing to your brain at 2 a.m.
Bringing it home with Section 5, med tapers and key questions, your clinical scripts. When you've only got, maybe 15 minutes with your physician, you need precise vocabulary to initiate a real dialogue about root cause alternatives and safe medication management. If you're on a statin purely for elevated cholesterol and haven't had a prior cardiac event, ask this exact question. Has my 10-year cardiovascular risk score been recalculated recently? Because as you age, the baseline math changes. A prescription that made perfect sense 5 years ago might carry a totally different risk-to-benefit ratio today, especially when you consider how statins accelerate age-related mitochondrial decline by depleting your CoQ10.
Now, here's a massive one. Try asking, should my blood pressure medication be taken at bedtime instead of the morning? The HYGIA chronotherapy trial found that shifting blood pressure medication to bedtime was associated with nearly 45% lower rates of major cerebrovascular events. Why? Because it covers that super dangerous 4 a.m. cortisol surge, protecting your brain's microvessels right when they are most vulnerable to a stroke.
Finally, if you're on long-term sleep meds or PPIs, say this. I'd like to discuss a supervised tapering protocol. Please never, ever stop these medications abruptly. Abrupt cessation of PPIs causes severe acid rebound, and stopping sleep meds carries very real neurological risks. Confidently ask your doctor to supervise a gradual taper while you simultaneously introduce those root cause alternatives we talked about, like the tart cherry juice, the magnesium, and the kefir.
Okay, let's bring this whole shebang together into a simple, daily prep checklist to beautifully bridge the gap between your home habits and the clinic. Hydrate and get that morning light to lock in your circadian rhythm. Support your gut and thyroid with kefir and pumpkin seeds. Lower your evening stress with 4-7-8 breathing. Keep a little notebook. Write down if you wake up precisely at 2 a.m., which, by the way, is a sign of an overburdened liver, or if you have evening ankle swelling. Then, walk into that clinic with your written lab requests and your specific questions right in hand.
You are the executive manager of your health, period. Your body after 60 has different needs, and you have absolutely every right to demand the data that reveals how it's actually functioning underneath the surface. So I'll leave you with this to think about. What specific lab or question are you taking to your next doctor's appointment? Start planning it out today. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I will catch you in the next one.